people have an opinion on Uncharted: Drake's Fortune. Be it bad or good, this game was reviewed and its score remains. But what if you play this game today? Would it hold up, or would it be seen in a different light? I have a review for this game, but it's running a little late. Recently remastered by Bluepoint Games, Uncharted: Drake's Fortune now runs at a sharp 1080p and 60 frames per second. Along with the removal of some mechanics of the PS3 days and some impressive texture work, the game looks leagues better than its PS3 version. But even under that new coat of paint, it's still an early third-person shooter by Naughty Dog. At a time where cover-based shooters were practically gluing you to chest-high walls, Uncharted tried to take that formula in a different direction, mixing in influence from Tomb Raider series as well as action-adventure serials. Uncharted: Drake's Fortune provided a stark contrast to its competition and began one of Sony's most successful franchises.
So you found the coffin?
Bully, the girl can hold her own. You should have seen her.
Fine. You go on out there and you tell her we just found the lost
Uncharted:
city of gold.
Drake's
Maybe your
Fortune
producer can get it on
stars
the air.
Nathan
Oh,
Drake,
come on.
a funny, brash, and out-of-his-depth adventurer
More or
out for
less.
lost treasure and ancient
Always been
riches.
this popular?
He's your typical
Well, I
roguish
just seem to
type,
attract
at
the
least
scum
on
of
the
the earth.
surface, but underneath lies a heart of gold.
None taken.
What's supposed to mean?
That reporter? I saw the way you were eyeing her.
Elena? Please. I snuffed any chance with her the second we ditched her on that dock.
All's fair in love and war, kid.
And what if you can't tell the difference?
Then, my friend, you are in big trouble.
But gold is also what he seeks. The game sets up the story as a search for El Dorado, the lost Incan city of gold, and its connection to Sir Francis Drake. Our protagonist, Nathan Drake, a supposed descendant of Sir Francis, is attempting to pick up his trail and find the lost city of gold.
Ho ho ho.
Huh?
El goddamn Dorado.
He was onto something big, all right.
At the start of the game, Nathan Drake and a history reporter, Elena Fisher, uncover the coffin of Sir Francis Drake.
400 years ago. Are you sure you want to be defiling your ancestors' remains like that?
You make it sound so dirty. Besides, thought you didn't believe me.
Well, I did do my research, and apparently Francis Drake didn't have any children.
Well, history can't be wrong, you know. For example, you can't defile an empty coffin.
What the hell?
But all that's inside is Francis's journal, with the location of El Dorado. Nate and his friend slash mentor, Victor Sullivan, an old out-of-shape adventurer in need of a big break, ditch the reporter and go off for the treasure. It's a simple enough setup for a game abundant with twists, colorful characters, a mystery to solve, and a wonderful adventuring spirit to tie it all together.
Well, come on!
Thank you.
Hey! Damn it!
Nice work.
But the story wouldn't mean anything without the gameplay. An adventure game doesn't suit the normal trappings of a third-person shooter, so developer Naughty Dog smartly developed a frantic and fast-paced action game with platforming, fast-moving speed, and slick gunplay. By mixing and matching styles and games, Naughty Dog developed something between the core design's Tomb Raider games and Epic Games' Gears of War, and they pulled it off, paving the way for future installments to improve on the solid foundation. And that is what Uncharted: Drake's Fortune is, a solid foundation to build a franchise on. Not to say that it isn't a great game in its own right. Uncharted's gameplay mixes multiple things together to make a cohesive whole, the first of which is the platforming. Nathan Drake is capable of pulling off complex climbing with ease, jumping between ledges, shimmying along walls, and swinging from vines. These high-flying acrobatics serve as moments to change a player's thinking, to switch from fast-paced combat to more subtle exploration. This, along with the few puzzles in the game, serve to change the pace, something sorely needed in a combat-heavy game. Combat is what you will spend most of your time on in Uncharted, in arenas with multitudes of bad guys to shoot.
Here we go.
Uncharted also features a simplified set of weaponry, using only the bare essentials. You're able to carry only 2 weapons into battle, 1 sidearm and 1 heavier weapon, along with some grenades. 3 choices of sidearm, an assault rifle, a shotgun, a sniper rifle, and a grenade launcher are all the choices you'll need to make, and it's clear which combinations of these work the best in each situation. The simplified set of weapons means the player doesn't have to stop and spend much time contemplating which weapons to take, keeping the player moving and keeping the pacing fast.
You won't be so.
But ammo is scarce, and you have to manually pick it up, which often requires the player to engage in melee combat, something the game encourages.
There he is. You are mine.
Everything in the game is tailored to movement, all about chaining all of these options together for fast-paced action.
Shoot to kill.
You can fire from the hip as well as precision aim. Each option comes with its own advantages and disadvantages. Firing from the hip is inaccurate, but generous auto aim means bullets will connect with enemies. But firing from the hip is unlikely to kill, requiring the player to pepper the enemy with a few shots, then finish them off with a punch. This is useful because normal melee takes multiple punches to down an opponent, and can leave you vulnerable. Firing from the hip can kill, but is likely to drain you of bullets, forcing you to engage in risky melee combat. Firing from the hip also fires from cover without exposing you to return fire. Precision aiming, on the other hand, is far more accurate, but it can leave you open to fire from enemies, encouraging you to be on or near cover. Precision aiming is the only way you are likely to land headshots, which can one-hit kill an enemy. This interesting mix of hip firing, melee, precision shots, taking cover, rolling, switching weapons, and constantly moving can create a constantly dynamic gameplay loop that is never dull. Enemies in the game come in a few varieties. The first set of enemies you face are modern-day pirates, who are run by a charismatic leader named Eddie Raja.
Drake.
Eddie Raja. I should have guessed.
Fascinating document, huh? Seems like this Sir Francis was in my line of work.
Don't flatter yourself, Eddie.
Each enemy pirate is distinct enough to tell what weapons they carry from a distance. There are the basic grunts of the pirates, who usually only carry sidearms. There are the higher level grunts, who carry AK-47s, usually indicated by wearing brightly colored bandanas. There's the shotgunners, who are large bald men with suspenders. And then there are the grenadiers, who only carry grenade launchers, and they wear sun hats. The final pirate type is the sniper, who looks like the grenadier or high-level grunt, but they have a red targeting laser giving away their precision. The distinct enemy diversity allows you to quickly identify the largest threats and eliminate them. Later in the game, you encounter mercenaries, who have largely the same enemy diversity, but sporting more tactical-looking armor as well as stronger weapons. The introduction of stronger weaponry makes dealing with the pirates far easier, but the mercenaries ramp up the difficulty in the second half of the game. All of this foundation has remained in subsequent games in the series. The enemy variety, the simplified weapon system, and the fast-paced combat. This is all something Naughty Dog got right in the first game, giving Naughty Dog a strong foundation to build upon.
Take cover!
Even in Uncharted Drake's Fortune, you can already see some ambition on the part of Naughty Dog. One section in particular requires the player to pilot a jet ski up a river with dynamic water that has an effect upon the vehicle. While some people derided it as one of the game's worst segments, it clearly demonstrates an ambition to try something no other games had done before. A fully controllable vehicle like the jet ski has never been a part of the Uncharted series since, the closest being a horse riding segment in Uncharted 3, but this appears to have changed for Uncharted 4, which appears to have a fully controllable truck. But the gameplay of Uncharted Drake's Fortune is not without its faults. Enemies in the game can often be over-aggressive, charging straight at the player rather than trying to outsmart the player. There are a few too many one-hit kill weapons in the game, the grenade launcher for instance. Oftentimes, the grenadier can see you, but you cannot see him, resulting in an instant death the player had no idea was coming. The laser sight enemies often pin you down. If their laser gets beat on you, it's an instant kill, so they force you to move or roll, sending you right into other enemies. Some areas are not fun to fight in, because enemies will appear from behind the player, resulting in deaths from enemies the player didn't even know were there, or literally weren't there a moment before. The puzzles in the game are another sore spot. They are often too easy, with the game giving you the solution rather than letting you figure it out for yourself.
Oh man, Roman and Navarro really tore this place up.
Another problem is the stickiness of cover. Sometimes you stick to cover you didn't intend to, leading to unintended deaths.
It's gonna hurt in the morning. Oh boy.
Dropping down to ledges occasionally doesn't work, causing Nate to plummet to his death. And there is no stealth to speak of.
There he is!
There are unnecessary quicktime events, and the melee system is ill-explained and gets you killed more often than not.
Not so tough after all.
But beyond those grievances, I maintain that Uncharted Drake's Fortune is a great game with a few flaws. Flaws largely solved by games later in the series. The final points I want to make largely revolve around the story, so those who want to experience it for themselves can stop watching here. Near the beginning of the game, it is revealed that El Dorado is not a city, but a golden man, a giant golden idol that was moved to an island in the Pacific.
A gold statue.
A huge gold statue. And look here, these people, they're worshipping the damn thing. At least, I think they're people.
Of course. El Dorado, the Golden Man. Sully, it wasn't a city of gold. It was this. It was a golden idol.
Man, can you imagine what that thing would be worth now?
Look over here. Tracks. I bet the Spanish dragged it out on cut logs. We're 400 years late for this party.
And it is revealed that in some way the Nazis were looking for the idol as well.
Must have come up the river during flood season and gotten stuck.
Drake uses coordinates from a derelict German U-boat to locate the island.
Find anything, kid?
UK 2642. UK 2642. Gotcha.
But upon retrieving the coordinates, accidentally activates a torpedo.
Oh, don't! That's probably bad.
Then, the bad guys make their appearance.
Hey! Friends of yours, Sully?
I'm Gabriel Roman.
Yeah, I know who you are, asshole.
Manners, young man. This is just business.
Get over there.
Easy.
Put your hands up.
All right, they're up.
Sully, owing a huge debt to a man named Roman, promised him the location of El Dorado as payment.
He's screwing with you, Nate. They heard it.
Holding Sully and Nate hostage, he takes the map from Nate.
What does a Kriegsmarine map have to do with El Dorado?
What, you think this is a coincidence? The Germans were after the same treasure. That map has something to do with it.
Now knowing the
Come
location,
on,
he
Roman.
shoots Sully.
He's got nothing to do with... Sully!
Before shooting Nate, the torpedo explodes, distracting them long enough for Nate to escape, where he runs back into Elena.
Whoa there, cowboy. That's for leaving me at the dock.
What the hell are you doing here?
Listen, I'm a good enough reporter to follow a couple of no-luck tomb robbers.
He went this way. I'll radio ahead.
Nate believes that Sully has been killed.
Sully's dead.
What?
Yeah. And we're next if we don't get out of here.
Oh God, I'm sorry.
So he and Elena decide to try and get to the island before Roman and his crew do.
Sully, damn it. If the Spanish found the treasure, they had to move it there, to that island. And Drake followed him.
Well, what are we waiting for? I'll get the story and you get whatever it is you're after.
Upon arriving at the island by plane, they quickly find out that pirates are already on the island when their plane is shot down.
Oh crap! We're on fire!
After surviving the crash, Drake attempts to locate Elena.
Oh no. Elena.
Watch this.
Oh crap.
But after a few skirmishes with pirates, Drake is captured and meets an old rival named Eddie Raja, who is leading the pirates and works for Roman. Nate and Eddie have a fun, rivalrous rapport, obviously having been at odds before. And Eddie is one of the more colorful and fun bad guys in the game, especially as he has prior connections to Nate.
The last man alive gets the gold. And the girl, of course.
The girl? Oh, Eddie, the girl's long gone. She's probably off the island by now. Going for help.
Daikujin, you were never very good at poker. I will find her. Trust me. How much trouble could one girl be?
Elena then helps Nate escape by car, where they arrive at a sunken city.
Go!
A port where El Dorado had to have gone through.
That's where all the boats coming into the colony would have unloaded their cargo. So if the El Dorado treasure came to this island, it would have had to have come through here.
But after some close calls with Eddie, Nate decides they need to leave. Get off the island by boat while they still can.
That's our ticket out of here. Come on.
Our ticket out of here? Are you giving up?
Maybe you hadn't noticed, but we're kind of outnumbered.
We're doing fine so far. I don't know what you're
Elena, I don't need your bullet-riddled corpse on my conscience. Let's go.
Oh,
And with the benefit of hindsight, this is a very interesting scene. Nate, the treasure hunter, wants to give up on the treasure and leave, while Elena wants to convince him to keep going. It's a stark contrast to Elena in the later games, who wants Drake to give up this obsession with treasure. But perhaps her convincing Drake to keep going in this story is the instigator for Drake's later obsession. Nate is eventually convinced to stay when Elena reveals that Sully is still alive and appears to be working with Roman.
watch this. Just
What?
Don't forget to stop on the dock.
and hello. He's alive.
Drake, with his information, heads upriver with Elena to a library where Sully was taken.
There you are.
That thing kind of gives me the creeps.
It's here that we also learn some more about Drake.
Huh.
Elena
That's the last
asks
entry.
him about the ring he wears around his neck.
That somebody special?
What? Oh. Yeah. I guess you could say that.
Huh. I had you pegged as more of a woman in every port kind of guy.
Don't I wish? No, this was...
Nate reveals
this
that
was
it is
Francis
Sir
Drake's
Francis Drake's
ring.
ring,
Kind of
and the
inherited.
inscription
Sic
on it
parvis magna?
reads,
Greatness from small beginnings. It was his motto. Check out the date.
Nate is held onto the ring in hopes of one day finding the
1996.
resting place
Day
of Sir
after
Francis
He
Drake.
supposedly died.
Wait,
It's
what
one
are
of the
these numbers
game's
right here?
more emotional scenes
Right
and
off the
delves
coast
into
of
Nathan
Panama.
Drake as a
Oh, so
person.
that's how you found the coffin.
Yeah, that's right. See, Drake left this as a clue to pinpoint the exact burial site.
For someone clever enough to figure it out. All
Nate
right,
and
so
Elena
how is it you're
reunite
standing
with
here
Sully,
breathing at
where
all,
he
huh?
reveals that Sir Francis Drake's
You are not gonna
notebook
believe this.
took the bullet that Roman shot, saving his life.
Huh?
No way! Old Francis took a bullet for you.
Yeah.
I thought this kind of thing only happened in the movies.
Yeah, well, it still hurt like a son of a bitch, I'll tell you that.
I bet.
Anyway, once they
And he
realized
has
I
since
wasn't
been
dead,
stalling
I convinced
Roman,
that they would
hoping
never
Nate
find
would
the treasure
eventually
without me.
arrive.
So I've been trying to mislead him ever since, waiting for you to show up.
After solving some puzzles, Nate finally finds Sir Francis Drake in a room with no sign of El
There's
Dorado.
nothing here.
This is getting so old.
Nate?
It's perhaps the most powerful
It's
moment
Drake.
of the game, where Drake believes that Sir Francis never found
it,
El
he just
Dorado,
Died.
and he just died on this island. Drake takes off his ring
So
and
much
places
for
it in the
greatness.
palm of Sir Francis at his final resting place.
Wasted his life. For nothing.
But that's not where the game ends. Eddie Raja
boys.
storms into the
Easy,
room
Eddie,
terrified.
easy. What the hell's going on out there?
Didn't you see them?
Oh no. Oh God, no.
We're trapped.
Jesus, what is that?
We're dead. We're all dead.
Strange creatures begin to attack them, humans that crawl on 4 legs. Nate and Eddie attempt to fight them off.
Crap.
Drake, if we don't make it out of here, I just want you to know, I hate your guts.
Yeah, likewise, pal. Now let's do this.
That's right, you ugly kunyuk! Don't mess with Eddie Raja!
Eddie! Eddie, hold on!
Drake attempts to save Eddie, but Eddie is unfortunately dragged away by the creatures.
What the hell were those things?
Nate and Elena barely escape, but where they end up is in the
Are you
hangar
okay?
of an old
Yeah.
Nazi sub base.
Nate?
Okay, I don't think they can get through this.
Nate,
What?
where are we?
I'm not sure.
At the base, Drake learns that El Dorado is in fact cursed, an object that turns men into monsters. The Spaniards who lived on the island and the Nazis were turned into these creatures. Sir Francis Drake wasn't trying to take El Dorado off the island, but keep it from leaving after learning of its powers. It's a twist straight from a classic adventure serial, and it's pulled off surprisingly well in the game.
My end is near. The devils hunt for me in the darkness. The gold of El Dorado bears a terrible curse. The Spaniards have unleashed hell and become as demons. My men have all been murdered, leaving the task to me alone. No ship will depart this island. I destroyed them all and drowned the cursed city. A thing of such great evil must never leave these shores. In my final hour, I commend my soul to God. May he have mercy on this unholy place. Francis Drake. My God.
After barely escaping a swarm of the monsters, it's revealed that Roman has taken Elena hostage and is headed for the idol, not knowing its true danger.
Of course.
Oh, I hope you don't mind if we borrow Miss Fisher a little while longer, just to discourage you and your partner from trying anything creative. So long, Nate. It's been fun.
Yeah. Keep smiling, asshole. I'll see you soon.
After escaping more monsters, as well as attacking mercenaries, Drake and Sully confront Roman, who's already gotten to the room with El Dorado.
No heroics, please. Or I will kill her. Good. Now, if you'll just hang tight, we'll be with you in a moment. It's magnificent. The craftsmanship. I've never seen anything like it before.
Roman's henchman, Navarro, convinces Roman to open the idol.
Lies inside. Open it!
Turning Roman into one of the creatures.
My God.
Watch this.
Then Navarro kills him. It's revealed that Navarro is the real main bad guy of this game, and he does not want the idol for its monetary value, but for its power, and he plans to take it off the island. Navarro loads El Dorado onto a helicopter and takes Elena with him. Drake chases after them while Sully holds off the mercenaries and the monsters. Elena manages to damage the helicopter and it crashes on Navarro's ship, where Drake and Navarro have a final battle. It's unfortunate that this final battle is easily the worst gameplay section of the game, and it's mostly because it breaks a lot of the conventions set by the game earlier. The conventions that were set earlier are that, 1, that cover is optional. Throughout the game you've been able to run around dodging, but if you leave cover in this section, you will die quickly. 2, that rolling will protect you from laser sight weapons. In the final battle, Navarro's pistol has a laser sight. It cannot be dodged and will kill in one hit. And 3. QuickTime events are rare. Throughout the game, there are a total of 3 QuickTime events. In this final battle, there are 7 QuickTime events in total. Failing any of which leads to instant death. And the way you play this section is incredibly strange. Essentially, you attempt to break the box Navarro hides behind by shooting it, causing him to run and you to advance closer. The strange and baffling final fight is an unfortunate blemish on an otherwise great game. After defeating Navarro, he attempts one last shot at killing Drake and Elena, but Drake pushes the helicopter perilously hanging overboard, falling into the water below. A rope catches Navarro's leg, and he's dragged down into the ocean with El Dorado and the helicopter, killing Navarro and destroying the cursed idol. Nathan Drake did exactly what his ancestor did 400 years ago. He stopped El Dorado from leaving the island.
Quite a day.
Yeah, save the world, triumph over evil. Pretty typical.
Really?
It's a shame we're leaving empty-handed, though.
Oh, well, you know, I did manage to save one small thing.
And Elena reveals that she held on to Sir Francis's ring and gives it back to Nate. Now, no longer disappointed, but proud to bear Drake's name and his ring. Sully then returns with the boat, having survived the island himself.
Sully! Wow, you look like hell.
You should see the other guys. Got us a boat.
We already have a boat.
Yeah, big boat.
I like this one better.
And he returns with a boat full of treasure.
Sully, you beautiful son of a bitch!
This capstones a fun, adventurous story filled with mystery and twists and fun characters. A great take on a video game version of Indiana Jones, or a Clive Cussler novel, or those old adventure serials. At the end, Nate, Elena, and Sully sail off into the sunset, not quite sure what the future holds. But I know what the future holds. The foundation that Uncharted Drake's Fortune provided led to the critically acclaimed sequels and made Naughty Dog a star development studio. But Uncharted Drake's Fortune is not merely a stepping stone to future success, but a great game in its own right. But the saying on that ring holds true for the franchise as a whole: greatness from small beginnings.